So I am Lina Acosta Sandal, the owner and founder of Stop Parenting Alone. And this is, introduce yourself, Miss.
Hi there, I'm Nicole Santamaria. I'm an occupational therapist, and I work in schools and I work with families and students to help them find the best strategy for their little person.
And she is the fabulous, fabulous Miami handwriting you have and you see out there everywhere in Miami. So, okay. Recently, in my Instagram feed and in my Facebook feed, parents have been talking and wondering about that little fidget toy, at which we had it. We don't have a sample of it, but it's a little thing that all the children are going
and spinning. Now they have some that light up as they spin.
Correct. And one parent in particular, hello Cecilia, she asked a question about why are they so popular and why do the children need this toy at school, to what is it that they needed and what's going on in school that they need it. So since Nicole is an occupational therapist and I am a mental health person and a development person, we wanted to answer that question from our point of view. So Nicole, what is a fidget toy and what do we use it for?
Well, the fidget toy, ideally, when you hear it used like from an occupational therapist, may come into your classroom and say, let's give Johnny something to fidget with in hopes that we can help him regulate and keep sitting still in his class and not interrupt the classmates. The number one thing we always keep in mind is it has to not be disruptive to the rest of the class. Because even if it's good for Johnny and it dysregulates the whole class, including the teacher, it's not fulfilling the purpose. These spinners, I'm sure that they do wonderful things. The kids I've talked to love them. They think they're fun. Some even told me that it's supposed to help me relax, but they do disrupt the class. They disrupt the table. Some of them make a little spinning noise, and if you have a student or a teacher that's sensitive to noise, guess what? That's not helping our classroom environment. That's distracting them even more.
And the spinner, because we were talking about this before we started our little camera here, it's a version of all of you at a very boring meeting, moving your leg, tapping your foot, chewing gum,
Yes.
sucking a mint, biting your pencil, twirling your hair. And all of these things we do because we're trying to focus and pay attention. So there's a part of our neurology that asks us to do something repetitive so we can focus. So it makes sense that the spinners got very popular at school right now, and it got popular as a toy because our little people are being asked to sit in a classroom for like 45 minutes straight. Yes. While being lectured to. So I would say that in some scenarios it's a good thing as long as you show your child what it's for, right? So you were saying that some of the kids know exactly when to use their spinner.
Yeah, the kids I talked to, they knew the rules. They knew when it was allowed, and the kids were okay with the rules, guys. They were fine. They were just happy that they were able to use them in transitions, in line, at lunch. They were okay with it.
And the younger ones, right, the ones under 7, it's really hard for them because they were at a 60-40 ratio of having impulse control, meaning that only 40% of the time children under the age of 7 maintain their impulses. So if you have this fabulous spinner and you keep thinking about it in the classroom and it's not time to do it, there's going to be the chosen few that are gonna misuse it. So is it a distraction? Is it helpful?
I guess it's a case-to-case scenario, but overall in a regular general ed class, it's probably more of a distraction than a help. There are certain things that we can introduce to a classroom that are quiet, that don't make noise, and those usually require a good conversation with the teacher to kind of let her know what it's for, how best to use it, to help set up rules between the student and the teacher so that they can use it for what it's intended for. Even if you are at that meeting and you're chewing your gum, and you're chewing it really loud, it might be driving the person next to you crazy. Whereas if you're twirling your hair, that one's okay because it's not going to bug anybody.
Not that much. So last question, because we don't want this to be too long. You might get bored.
And then you might need a fidget.
And then you might be twirling your hair. Okay, so Nicole, if you had to choose one thing to tell parents to get for children that their child has a hard time kind of paying attention and sitting still in the classroom, that most teachers do not frown against, what would it be?
My favorite toy to introduce to the classroom is actually a school supply. It's a kneadable eraser. It can be included in their pencil box. They have them gray so that they just look like a regular eraser. They have them scented. They have them with Dr. Seuss. And it's an eraser, and they can just squish and roll as they're talking. They don't need to look at it. It doesn't do anything. And usually, as long as, like everything, it's used within the boundaries of the classroom, it's great for the student, it's great for the teacher, and doesn't bother the child next door. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Perfect. So I will put that in the notes. It will be in a link, so all of you can buy the
Kneadable eraser.
All right, parents, go out there and help your children find positive ways to fidget.
Yes. Bye-bye.